Okay, today let us explore the rather curious case of reincarnation. The term reincarnation, as you and I know, is all about a person being born again on planet Earth. This is a case where, let's say, Mr. Steve dies. After some years, Mr. John is born in the same place or some other place, in the same family or some other family. And strangely, Mr. John has a good number of characteristics, even birthmarks of Mr. Steve, who died many years ago. Not only that, once in a while, people are stunned to hear Mr. John say exactly what Steve said during his lifetime. And sometimes, let's say, Steve used to speak fluent French. John never studied French. But occasionally, John comes out with blazing French, surprising every single individual in the vicinity. Now, how do we explain this? Is there any psychological or psychographical theory which can explain this strange phenomenon? Well, actually not. There is no explanation at all. Let's check out some slides. So while you're watching the slides, I will be keeping on narrating more about reincarnation. Slides, please. The curious phenomenon of reincarnation is technically known as metempsychosis. It's considered a psychosis or a kind of illusion or delusion or whatever, a state of psychosis. Well, this scientific explanation for reincarnation is hardly acceptable. It's not acceptable by any means, because the condition called psychosis leads to illusion, delusion, sometimes perversion in individuals. But it doesn't explain how a person who doesn't know French comes out with blazing French during the state of metempsychosis. See, this particular phenomenon of speaking fluently in a language which you never studied and you never knew is known by many names. One of the names is xenoglossia. It's also called xenoglossia. So it's again called xenolalia. There are so many names for this. But let me assure you, there is utterly no scientific explanation for this. There is no scientific explanation whatsoever for a person speaking a language alien to him, utterly and completely fluently. Similarly, see, let's say, again going back to Steve and John. Steve died of a stab wound on his chest in the left thoracic region, let's say. Now, John, who is born many years later, has a birthmark in the exact position of the wound mark, which looks like a healed wound. There is no scientific explanation whatsoever for this other than reincarnation. Now, researchers all over the world have done quantum research on this, and the findings are in 90% of cases where reincarnation or metempsychosis is suspected, there is crystal clear proof for birthmarks, regressive life marks resembling the person who passed away. And there is no explanation for this whatsoever. And in most of these cases, there have been instances of xenoglosia or xenolalia, whatever. We have discussed already. So, putting together all these facts of the case, we come to the conclusion that the phenomenon of reincarnation is very much real. And modern psychology fails to explain this with any kind of logical reasoning, any kind of scientific explanation. So let's okay. So now we are at a juncture where there is no logical reasoning, there is no scientific explanation for our friend John speaking a language which he never studied, has never been exposed to, never known. There is also no explanation why John has a birthmark at the exact position where Steve had a stab mark. So 90% of cases of reincarnation, it has been conclusively proven by researchers that there are clear cases of a phenomenon which is beyond explanation of modern psychology, and there is no other explanation other than reincarnation for this. So let's close this discussion with the understanding that reincarnation is real, very real, and it has been scientifically proven to be real. Thank you very much.